The revival chamber hissed open. Cold vapor poured out as Ju Park's eyes fluttered. Her first breath in 3,000 years burned her lungs. The bright lights above hurt her eyes, but the pain meant she was alive. "Easy now, Commander," a gentle voice said. Dr. Chunho Kim's face came into focus. His kind eyes watched her carefully as medical scanners hummed around them. Ju tried to sit up. Her muscles screamed in protest after their long sleep. Dr. Kim helped her, supporting her back. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice rough from disuse. "We've reached the outer boundary of Saurian space," Juno replied. "Right on schedule." Ju nodded. Her mind was clearing quickly now. The memory of why they had come so far returned like a thunderclap. Earth, their beautiful blue home planet, gone. She remembered that day with perfect clarity. The Exorian warships had appeared without warning. Their weapons had torn through Earth's defenses like paper. Billions died in hours. Those who survived the initial attack faced a dying planet as the Torians bombarded Earth until its crust cracked and its atmosphere burned away. Ju had been a young lieutenant then, assigned to one of the last evacuation ships. She watched through viewports as her homeworld died behind her. That day, something inside her had hardened. She had sworn on the ashes of Earth that humanity would return. "The last of the command staff will finish revival within the hour," Junho said, breaking into her dark memories. "Admiral Lee is already waiting to speak with you." As if summoned by his name, the door to the revival chamber slid open. Admiral Do-Yun Lee strode in, his uniform crisp, his posture perfect. His face showed no signs of age, the magic of cryosleep. "Commander Park," he said with a small bow, "welcome back to the land of the living." "Admiral," Ju replied, trying to stand. Her legs wobbled. "Please, remain seated," Do-Yun said. "I know how difficult the first few hours after revival can be." He pulled up a chair and sat across from her. His face grew serious. "Our long-range scouts report that the Xorians have grown weak," he said. "They believe they wiped us out completely. Their empire has spread, but their technology has stagnated. They've grown complacent in their victory." Ju felt a cold smile form on her lips. "They have no idea we survived." "None," Do-Yun confirmed. "The colony worlds have thrived beyond our ancestors' wildest dreams. For 3,000 years, we've built, planned, and prepared. Our technology now surpasses what the Xorians could imagine." Ju looked around the revival chamber. The Nemesis was humanity's finest warship, built with technology developed over millennia. Its weapons could shatter planets. Its shields could withstand stellar flares. Its engines could bend space itself. "How many ships in our fleet?" she asked. 12 capital ships including the Nemesis," Do-Yun replied, "plus support vessels, each one capable of defeating the entire Xorian navy as it existed when they destroyed Earth." A medical technician approached with a small device. "Your neural update, Commander." Ju nodded, and the technician pressed the device to her temple. Information flooded her mind. Ship schematics, crew rosters, mission parameters, battle plans. The technology allowing direct brain interfaces was just one of countless advancements humans had made during their exile. "The rest of the fleet commanders are ready for your orders," Do-Yun said. "You were chosen to lead this mission because your tactical brilliance is unmatched. The Council believes you are the right person to bring justice to those who destroyed our homeworld." Ju felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. 3,000 years of planning, building, and waiting had led to this moment. Trillions of humans across dozens of colony worlds looked to her to avenge their ancestral home. "Help me up," she said. This time, her legs held firm as she stood. Dr. Kim handed her a uniform, and she slipped it on over the revival suit. The commander's insignia gleamed on her collar. "What are your orders?" Do-Yun asked. Ju walked slowly to the viewport. Outside, the vast blackness of space stretched before her. Somewhere out there were the descendants of those who had destroyed Earth. They lived their lives in peace, never imagining that the ghosts of their ancestors' victims were returning. Deploy stealth probes to all major Xorian systems, she said. I want complete intelligence before we make our first move. Position the fleet in the shadow of the Taraxis Nebula. Their sensors can't penetrate it. Her mind raced with plans and strategies. The Xorians would never see them coming. The entire human race has waited 3,000 years for justice, she said quietly. We will not rush now and risk failure. Doyan nodded. And once we have the intelligence. Jiwu turned to face him, her eyes hard with determination. Then we strike. We will make them remember what they tried to forget. We will make them pay for what they did to Earth. She walked toward the door, her stride growing stronger with each step. Prepare the fleet, Admiral. Operation Remembrance begins now. The Taraxis system hadn't seen life in centuries. Its star had died long ago, leaving only dust, radiation, and darkness. Yet now, hidden among the debris, 12 human warships waited like predators. Commander Jiwu Park stood in the command center of their forward base, a temporary structure built inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, her uniform crisp despite the makeshift surroundings. Before her, a holographic display showed the positions of the human fleet, each ship carefully hidden from Xorian sensors. Our stealth systems are working perfectly, said Lieutenant Subinkang, her operations officer. The Xorians have passed through this system twice in the past week without detecting our presence. Jiwu nodded, studying the patrol routes that their probes had mapped. The Xorians were predictable, complacent. They had no idea that the human race had not only survived their genocide attempt, but had thrived and evolved. Scout Team Epsilon reports ready, Commander, announced Subin, checking his communication panel. The scout ship was their smallest vessel, designed for speed and stealth rather than combat. Its mission was simple: gather more detailed intelligence on Xorian defenses in the neighboring systems. Send them in, Jiwu ordered. Passive scans only. I want to know the Xorian patrol routes before we engage. Yes, Commander. Subin relayed the orders. Jiwu watched as the small blip representing Epsilon moved away from the fleet, heading toward the system's edge. Soon it would activate its jump drive, appearing light years away in Xorian territory. Do you think they'll maintain stealth? Asked Admiral Do-Yim Lee, who had entered the command center quietly. Captain Minho Choi is one of our best, Jiwu replied. If anyone can slip past Xorian sensors, it's him. Hours passed. The command crew worked in tense silence. Jiwu paced, checking the time repeatedly. Epsilon should have reported back already. Then, finally, the communication system crackled. Forward base, this is Scout Team Epsilon. Do you copy? Relief washed over Jiwu's face. We copy, Captain Choi. Report. Commander, Minho's voice came through, surprisingly calm. We've encountered a Xorian patrol vessel near the Helion Nebula. They've detected us. The command center fell silent. This wasn't part of the plan. They weren't supposed to engage with the enemy yet. Hold position. Jiwu ordered firmly. Do not engage unless. They're firing, Commander. Minho cut in. Returning fire. The communication went silent. The command crew looked to Jiwu, waiting for orders. She stood perfectly still, her mind racing through possibilities and contingencies. Prepare the fleet for possible engagement, she said to Admiral Lee. If the Xorians captured Epsilon, the communication system crackled back to life. Forward base, this is Captain Choi. Enemy vessel disabled. A collective sigh of relief filled the command center. Status report, Jiwu demanded. Their weapons are primitive, Commander, Minho replied, sounding almost disappointed. We sustained no damage. Their shields couldn't even stop our lowest power weapons. We've captured the vessel and have the crew in custody. Jiwu exchanged looks with Admiral Lee. This confirmed their intelligence. The Xorians had indeed grown technologically stagnant, while humans had advanced rapidly. Bring the captain to me, Jiwu ordered. Return to base immediately. 6 hours later, the scout ship Epsilon docked at the forward base. Security officers led a strange figure into the command center, Captain Rilks of the Xorian patrol vessel. Xorians were tall, with 4 arms and mottled blue-green skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. 4 large eyes dominated their oval faces, and they moved with an unsettling grace. This one wore the ornate uniform of a Xorian captain, though it was now torn and dirty. Ju stood as the alien entered. For 3,000 years, humans had seen Xorians only in historical records. Now, face to face with one, she felt an unexpected wave of hatred rise within her. This creature's ancestors had destroyed her world. "Sit," she commanded, gesturing to a chair. The Xorian remained standing, all 4 eyes fixed on her face. "Impossible," he hissed, the translator converting his clicks and whistles into human language. "Humans are extinct. We eliminated your species 3 millennia ago." "Clearly," Ju replied coldly, "you failed." The Xorian's eyes widened further, the upper pair focusing on Ju, while the lower pair darted around the room, taking in the human technology. "The history records are clear," Rilks insisted. "The cleansing of Earth was complete. No humans survived." "The history records are wrong," Ju said, stepping closer to the alien. "We survived. We rebuilt. We advanced. And now we've returned." The Xorian captain seemed to shrink into himself. "This changes everything. The High Command must be informed." "The High Command will learn soon enough," Ju said. "But first, you're going to tell me about your empire's defenses." She gestured to a nearby guard. "Take him to interrogation." As the Xorian was led away, Admiral Lee approached Ju. "What now, Commander? Our element of surprise may be compromised." Ju turned back to the holographic display, where 12 human warships waited for her command. "We accelerate the timeline," she said decisively. "The Xorians will assume their patrol ship was lost to natural causes. By the time they realize what's happening, we'll have struck their first major outpost." She zoomed in on a distant star system where a major Xorian military base orbited a gas giant. "Prepare the fleet. We attack at 600. The long-awaited vengeance for Earth was about to begin. The stars seemed to warp slightly, a brief distortion in the emptiness of space. Then everything was still again. To any observer, nothing had changed. But now, hidden by technology that bent light around their hulls, 12 human warships hung in the void above. Xorian Outpost Zenith 7. Commander Ju Park stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, the fleet's flagship. Her face showed no emotion as she studied the massive Xorian military base below. The station orbited a barren moon, its curved structures housing thousands of Xorian soldiers and dozens of warships. "They have no idea we're here," said Tactical Officer Hannah Yoon. Her fingers moved across the holographic controls with practiced ease. "Their sensor sweeps are passing right through us." Ju nodded. The quantum stealth technology that hid their ships was just one of many advancements humans had made during their long exile. The Xorians, thinking they had wiped out humanity, had grown lazy. Their technology had barely changed in 3,000 years. "All ships report ready," Admiral Doyam Lee said from his station. "Just give the word." Ju took a deep breath. This would be the first direct strike against a major Xorian installation. Until now, they had only picked off isolated patrols and scout ships. "Target locked," announced Hannah. "Xorian Outpost Zenith 7 is unaware of our presence." Ju's hand tightened on the rail in front of her. "All ships, weapons free." The order went out across the fleet. In perfect synchronization, the human vessels dropped their stealth fields. Suddenly, 12 warships appeared out of nowhere in Xorian sensor displays. But before the Xorians could even sound an alarm, energy beams lanced out from the human ships. The advanced weapons, powered by technology the Xorians couldn't comprehend, cut through shields and armor with terrifying ease. On the surface of Zenith 7, Xorian Commander Tulik stared in horror at his command screens. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Entire sections of the base were going dark. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Who is attacking us?" "Unknown vessels," a junior officer shouted. "They appeared from nowhere. Our shields are failing." Tulix reached for the communication panel to call for reinforcements, but it exploded in a shower of sparks before he could touch it. The command center shook violently as another energy beam struck nearby. "Evacuate," he ordered. "Get everyone to the escape pods." But it was already too late. Aboard the Nemesis, Zhuwu watched impassively as the Xorian base crumbled under their assault. Their weapons had been carefully calibrated, destroying military targets while leaving civilian areas untouched. "Their defense grid is down," reported Hana. "Their ships are trying to launch, but they're disorganized." "Target their hangars," Zhuwu ordered. "Don't let a single military vessel escape." The human fleet adjusted their fire. Precision beams struck the launching bays, trapping the Xorian warships inside as explosions ripped through the structure. "Commander," said Communications Officer Jin Suba, "we're picking up distress calls. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Let them call," Zhuwu replied coldly. "I want the entire Xorian Empire to know we're here." 5 minutes after it began, the battle, if such a one-sided engagement could be called that, was over. The military sections of Zenith 7 lay in ruins. The Xorian warships were destroyed, and the human fleet, their work done, reactivated their stealth fields and vanished from sight. "Casualties?" Zhuwu asked. "None on our side," Admiral Li reported. "Xorian military losses nearly total. Civilian areas untouched as planned." Zhuwu nodded with satisfaction. "Prepare for jump to our next target." As the fleet prepared to move on, a small team returned from the surface of the ruined base. They had been sent to recover something specific, something Zhuwu's intelligence had told her would be there. An officer approached her with a small container. "We found it, Commander, just where you said it would be." Zhuwu opened the container carefully. Inside lay a small piece of white marble, perfectly preserved. She lifted it gently, feeling its smooth surface. "Is that?" Admiral Li began. "Yes," Zhuwu said quietly. "A fragment of the Parthenon. The Xorians took it as a trophy before they destroyed Earth." She turned the ancient stone in her hands. This small piece of marble had once been part of a magnificent structure built by humans thousands of years before the Xorians had even encountered Earth. Now it was all that remained. 3,000 years, she whispered, touching the stone. "We've waited 3,000 years for justice." Meanwhile, on the Xorian High Command world, chaos reigned. Supreme Commander Vextor stared at the reports in disbelief as his subordinates shouted around him. "Zenith 7 has fallen," one officer reported. "Complete destruction of military assets." "Outpost Crawl 3 reports unknown vessels in their system," shouted another. "Defense Station Omega has gone dark." Vextor slammed his upper appendage on the table. "How is this possible? Their ships appear and disappear at will. Our sensors cannot track them." His intelligence officer, a thin Xorian named Zilta, trembled visibly. "We've analyzed what little data we recovered. The ships match no known configuration, Supreme Commander, but we intercepted communications between them. They are human." The room fell silent. The word hung in the air like a curse. "Impossible," Vextor whispered. "Humans are extinct. We made sure of it." "The evidence is clear," Zilta insisted. "Somehow, they survived. And they've returned." Vextor's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in succession, a sign of extreme distress in Xorians. "The ghosts have returned," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "The ancient sin has come due." The Nemesis glided silently through the darkness of space, its massive engines barely humming. 2 weeks had passed since the human fleet had begun their campaign of vengeance. 23 Xorian military installations had been destroyed, 47 warships reduced to floating debris. The once mighty Xorian Empire was in chaos. Commander Ju Park stood in her private quarters, staring at the holographic display before her. It showed a map of Xorian space, with red markers indicating their successful strikes. The pattern was clear. They were methodically cutting a path toward the Xorian homeworld. A soft chime announced a visitor. The doors slid open, and Admiral Doyen Li entered. His uniform looked crisp, but his eyes showed fatigue. "We have them on the run, Commander," he reported, a hint of pride in his voice. 3 more victories like yesterday's, and we can strike directly at their homeworld." Ju nodded absently. Her attention was fixed on another display screen showing the Xorian transmission they had intercepted. The video showed small Xorian children being hurried onto transport ships. Their skin was lighter blue than adults, their 4 eyes wider and filled with fear. Their teachers spoke to them in soothing tones, but the translator picked up their words clearly. "The human ghosts have returned from the void to punish us," one teacher said, "but you will be safe. The ancient tales say they only hunt warriors." Dr. Junho Kim stood beside Ju, watching the same footage. "These children know nothing of what their ancestors did," he said quietly. "They've only known humans as myths, scary stories told to make them behave." "The sins of the fathers," Ju began, but couldn't finish the old saying. Something felt wrong. When they had left Earth's ashes behind, vengeance had seemed so clear, so pure. But now, seeing the fear in those alien children's eyes, doubt crept into her mind. "We'll continue as planned," she told Doyen. "But I want more intelligence on civilian movements. We avoid all non-military targets." The Admiral nodded and left. Junho stayed behind, studying Juwoo's face. "You're troubled," he observed. "Wouldn't you be?" she asked. "We've trained our entire lives for this mission. But now that we're here, it's not as simple as we thought," Junho finished. "Revenge rarely is." Later that day, Ju received an urgent message from the intelligence team. They had broken into a heavily encrypted Xorian database recovered from their last attack. What they found was unexpected. In a secure conference room, Intelligence Officer Yu presented her findings. "We found historical records that contradict the official Xorian history," she explained, bringing up ancient documents on the screen. There was a resistance movement within Xorian society that opposed Earth's destruction. Jumu leaned forward, suddenly alert. "What?" "A minority faction, led by someone named Tilura," Yuma continued. "They believed the attack on Earth was morally wrong. They tried to warn humans and prevent the attack." The room fell silent as images appeared on screen. Ancient Xorian protests, documents signed with hundreds of names, even plans for ships that would have carried warning messages to Earth. "They failed," Yunha said simply. "The military faction overwhelmed them. Many were executed as traitors. But their descendants maintained a secret network over the centuries. They kept records of what really happened." Juwu stared at the image of Tilura, a Xorian standing proudly before what appeared to be a human flag. "They tried to save us," she whispered. "There's more," Yuma said. "The network still exists. They call themselves the Rememberers. They've maintained the truth about Earth for 3,000 years, even when it became dangerous to do so." Hours later, Juwu called a meeting of her senior officers. They gathered around the large table in the command center, faces serious as she shared what they had learned. "This changes things," she concluded. "We came for vengeance against those who destroyed our homeworld. But I will not become what we hate. We will not commit genocide." Captain Minho Choi, who had led many of their successful attacks, shook his head. "Commander, with respect, they showed us no mercy. Why should we show mercy to them?" Murmurs of agreement rose from several officers. The desire for revenge ran deep. Juwu waited for quiet before responding. "And that is why we must show mercy," she said firmly. "We are not them. We target the guilty, not the innocent. That is what separates us from monsters." She stood and walked to the main display, bringing up an image of the Xorian homeworld. "We will continue our campaign, but with new objectives," she announced. "First, we contact this Rememberer network. Second, we focus our attacks solely on military leadership, those who continue to hide the truth about Earth. Third, we prepare terms for peace." "Peace?" Admiral Lee asked, surprise evident in his voice. "That wasn't our mission." Juwu turned to face him directly. "Our mission was justice for Earth. True justice isn't blind revenge. It's accountability. The guilty must pay, but the innocent must be spared." She paused, looking around at each officer. "That's what Earth would have wanted. That's what makes us human." The room remained silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, Admiral Lee nodded. "I agree with the commander," he said. "We came to avenge humanity, not to abandon our humanity." One by one, the other officers voiced their support. Only Captain Minho remained silent, his face troubled. Outside the windows of the Nemesis, the stars continued their eternal watch. Somewhere among them, both guilty and innocent Xorians awaited humanity's next move. The skies of Xoria Prime suddenly darkened as 12 massive human warships appeared from nowhere. They arranged themselves in a perfect circle around the planet, a noose of advanced technology threatening the homeworld of the Xorian Empire. In the Grand Chamber of the Xorian High Command, chaos erupted. Officials ran in all directions. 4 armed technicians frantically worked at control panels. Alarms blared throughout the massive building. Supreme Commander Vextor stood in the center of the storm, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in distress. "Launch all fighters," he shouted. "Activate planetary shields." A junior officer approached him nervously. "Supreme Commander, our shields cannot stop their weapons. We've seen this at every outpost they've attacked." "Then we die fighting," Vextor hissed. He reached for the command console to order the attack when suddenly every screen in the room flickered and changed. On every display across the planet, from massive public screens to personal devices, the same image appeared: a human woman with determined eyes and a stern expression. The Xorians, who were old enough to remember the ancient historical records, recognized the species immediately. "People of Xoria," she said, her voice translated perfectly into the Xorian language. "I am Commander Juwu Park of the human fleet. 3,000 years ago, your ancestors destroyed our homeworld, Earth. Today, we could do the same to yours." She paused. Throughout the Xorian capital, millions of citizens looked up at her face in terror. Parents pulled their children close. Many began to pray. "But we will not," Juwu continued. "Instead, we demand justice. Surrender those responsible for maintaining the policy of human extinction. Face trial for your crimes. Accept reparations terms. Do this, and we will spare your worlds." In the command center, Vextor's rage boiled over. "Never," he shouted at the screen. "All ships, attack the human vessels." This is a bluff. The Xorian defense fleet launched, hundreds of warships rising from the surface toward the human ships. But the humans didn't even attempt to evade. They simply waited. The first Xorian shots bounced harmlessly off the human shields. Then the human ships responded. Their weapons lanced out with surgical precision, targeting only military vessels and installations. No civilian areas were hit, yet one by one, the Xorian warships exploded or drifted powerless in space. In just 20 minutes, the battle was over. The Xorian military had been defeated completely. On the surface, something unexpected happened. The secret network of rememberers, Xorians who had preserved the truth about Earth for 3,000 years, emerged from hiding. Led by Nilra, a direct descendant of the original Tilra who had opposed Earth's destruction, they took to the streets. "The humans speak truth," Nilra announced to the growing crowds. "Our ancestors committed a great crime. It is time for justice." The movement spread like wildfire. When human troops finally landed, they found Vextor and the other military leaders already under citizen arrest. Juwu Park stepped off her shuttle onto Xorian soil. the first human to do so in 3 millennia. Nilra approached her and bowed deeply. "My ancestor tried to warn your people," the Xorian said. "I have spent my life keeping that memory alive." Juwu nodded. "And now we will make sure no one ever forgets again." 1 year later, Commander Juwu Park stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Earth Memorial Station. Through the large viewport, she could see the exact coordinates where Earth had once orbited the Sun. Now, through incredible feats of engineering, humans had created a small moon there. Its surface held lakes and forests grown from preserved Earth seeds and water samples that the evacuation ships had carried away 3,000 years before. The station itself had become a symbol of the new peace between humans and Saurians. Both species worked together here, studying the past and planning for a shared future. Admiral Doiam Lee entered the observation deck, coming to stand beside Juwu at the viewport. Below them, a ceremony was about to begin. "Was it worth it?" he asked quietly. Juwu watched as the first mixed delegation of human and Saurian leaders approached the memorial flame that burned constantly at the center of the new moon. Among them was Nilra, now serving as the first Saurian ambassador to humanity. "Our ancestors didn't flee just to survive," she said thoughtfully. "They fled to preserve what made humanity worth saving, our capacity for justice tempered with mercy." "And now?" Do-hyun asked. "Now we rebuild, not just structures, but relationships. We've had our vengeance. It's time to create something better than what was destroyed." Together, they watched as the human and Saurian leaders joined hands around the eternal flame. Its light illuminated the plaque set into the stone at their feet. On it were Earth's coordinates and a simple message written in both human and Saurian languages. "We remember, we rebuild, we rise." In the space where Earth had once been, a new beginning took root. The descendants of both victim and perpetrator had found something neither expected: a path forward. The long night of hatred had ended. A new day had begun.